Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a document that is fundamentally changing how safe and effective medicines get made. We're talking about the ICH Q10 guideline, which really is the modern blueprint for pharmaceutical quality. Okay, so just think about this for a second. The incredible journey a medicine takes. From just an idea in a lab through development, massive scale up, global distribution, and then finally to a patient. How on earth do you guarantee the quality of that product at every single step? Well, the answer isn't some simple checklist. It's not just a bunch of rigid rules. It's a whole system, really. A philosophy about quality that has to be woven right into the DNA of an entire company. All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the challenge Q10 was designed to solve. Then we'll introduce the model itself, break down its blueprint, and see how it applies across a product's entire life. After that, we'll get into who's responsible for making it all work, and finally, what this all means for the future. So let's start with the problem, the why. The pharmaceutical industry is global, but for a long time, how companies handled quality could be really different from one country to the next. It created this huge need for a single, harmonized way of doing things. And that is exactly what ICH Q10 was created to be. Now, it doesn't replace existing regulations like good manufacturing practices or GMPs. A better way to think of it is as an upgrade, a powerful new operating system that makes all those existing rules work together in one comprehensive model that works anywhere in the world. And that brings us right to the solution, the ICH Q10 model for what we call a pharmaceutical quality system, or a PQS for short. So what is a PQS, really? The official definition calls it a management system to direct and control a pharmaceutical company with regard to quality. And the most important words there are management system. That signals a massive shift. We're not just talking about procedures in a lab anymore. This is a top-down, holistic approach that guides the entire organization. Now, the really smart thing here is that Q10 didn't just start from scratch. It was built by taking proven quality ideas from other industries, like ISO standards, and merging them with the GMP regulations already in place. The whole goal was to build this one unified system that covers everything, from day one in the lab to the final day a product is on the market, the entire life cycle. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of the model itself. I want you to think of ICH Q10 as the architectural blueprint, the actual plans for building an exceptional quality system inside a company. And just like any good blueprint, it all starts with a very clear purpose. The whole Q10 model is designed to do three main things. First, achieve product realization, which, put simply, means can you consistently deliver a safe and effective product that patients can rely on? Second, establish and maintain a state of control. Are your processes stable, predictable, and reliable, batch after batch after batch? And third, facilitate continual improvement. This is huge. Are you always learning and finding ways to make everything, the product, the process, the system, even better? Now, to hit those objectives, the blueprint rests on a solid foundation made of two key enablers. The first one is knowledge management. This is all about treating information, all the data and insights you gather about a product, as a critical asset. It's not something you just file away, it's something you actively manage and share to make better decisions. The second enabler is quality risk management. This is the proactive side of things. It's about using science and data to look ahead, identify what could go wrong, and deal with those potential risks before they ever become a problem for a patient. Okay, so if knowledge and risk management are the foundation, what gets built on top? Well, the blueprint gives us four structural pillars. These are the active systems that make quality happen every single day. You've got a system for constantly monitoring your process, a formal CAPA system for when things go wrong, a robust change management system to control any adjustments, and finally, a regular management review to make sure the whole system stays healthy and on track. So now that we have the blueprint, let's see where it gets applied. And this is one of the biggest innovations of Q10. It's not just about the factory floor, it covers the entire life of a product. The guideline lays out this life cycle really clearly in 4 stages. It starts way back in pharmaceutical development, moves through that tricky handoff called technology transfer, then into full-scale commercial manufacturing, and goes all the way to the end, to product discontinuation. Quality has to be managed across every single one of those stages. And this is a perfect example of how the model adapts. Let's take that change management pillar we just talked about. In early development, change is happening all the time, right? So the system is a little less formal. But by the time you're in commercial manufacturing, making medicine for thousands of people, yeah, that same system becomes highly structured, very formal, with serious oversight. It's the same principle, just applied in a way that makes sense for this specific stage. So, who makes all this happen? A system this big, this integrated, it can only work with absolute, unwavering commitment from the very top of an organization. This part is completely non-negotiable. And the guideline could not be more clear on this. It says it right there, direct quote. Senior management has the ultimate responsibility. The buck stops with them. Quality is a leadership function, period. And we're not just talking about signing off on a policy here. The guideline lists out specific, tangible actions that leadership has to take. They have to be involved in designing the system, they have to visibly support it, make sure everyone's communicating, personally conduct reviews, champion improvement, and, this one's critical, give the system the resources it needs to actually work. Okay, let's bring this all home. What does this all mean for the future of quality? Well, ICH Q10 is about so much more than just checking a box for regulators. It represents a deep cultural shift in how we even think about quality. And this is the key takeaway. The old way of thinking was that you'd make a huge batch of something, and then you'd test a sample at the end to see if it was good. The Q10 philosophy flips that script entirely. It says you don't test for quality at the end, you build quality into the product and the process from the very first day, and you maintain it through that whole life cycle. And why does any of this matter? Because all of these systems, these documents, these reviews, they all serve one single human-centric purpose. As the guideline says, the ultimate goal is to enhance the quality and availability of medicines for patients worldwide. That's the real bottom line. Which leaves us with a final question to chew on. If quality stops being just about compliance and starts being a core philosophy that drives everything, what does that make possible? What new innovations, what new technologies, and what better medicines will this new mindset unlock for all of us in the future?